Heck yeah! Prime real estate much? Place is smack dab in the heart of Tokyo. Not gonna lie though, a kid like me cutting it here wasn't so sure. Lady Luck got me enrolled. Who knew she'd be in for the long haul? Got this.
Danganronpa.
The ultimate lucky student and a carrier of hope, Makoto Naegi. Makoto has always been a fairly average kid, but there is one thing that sets him aside from everybody else: his optimism. In Makoto's universe, there's a place called Hope's Peak Academy, which only accepts the best of the best students, whether it's singing, playing sports, looking pretty, or even owning a motorcycle gang. You can get in if you're the absolute best at what you do. While Makoto wasn't that talented at anything, he was lucky enough to win the annual lottery the school holds every year, where a normal student gets to be enrolled in the academy. Now that sounds pretty good, until you realize that, it was all just a trap. Makoto, along with many other students, were lured into Hope's Peak Academy to be put into a killing game, where the only way to win is to kill and not get caught. So Makoto has to push past the despair and discover the murderers of Hope's Peak Academy. Also, Makoto is not going to be alone when he comes to fight despair in Smash Bros. Makoto will be joined by Hajime Hinata, a reserve corps student from the second game, Kaede Akamatsu, the ultimate pianist and the false protagonist of V3, and Shuichi Saihara, the ultimate detective and the true protagonist of V3. To properly represent the entire Danganronpa franchise, I'm going to be combining all four of their powers together, as they're all the protagonists of their respective games. Except Kamaru. Yeah, sorry Kamaru fans, she kinda got the short end of the stick here. I'm not doing this because I hate Kamaru or anything, I just think she's a little bit too different from the protagonists. Don't worry though, because, she's not going to be completely forgotten. She's still going to have some representation in the game. If you don't already know, Danganronpa is a very unique game with unique mechanics, as so, they're going to have similar mechanics in Super Smash Bros. I'll explain the gimmick right away, but first, let's get into the basics. So, the Danganronpa protagonist will have a below average weight of 96, identical to Pit and Dark Pit. They have an airspeed of 1.55, a falling speed of 2.528, a walk speed of 1.134, and a run speed of 165. They would have 2 jumps, and they would be able to crawl. Now let's get into the gimmick I mentioned earlier, or rather the gimmicks. Hey, need something to gimmicks this up? I wanna die. The protags will have 2 gimmicks in Smash. Occasionally, a Monokuma file will appear on the stage and could be thrown like an item. However, when a protagonist picks it up, a short animation of the protagonist picking up the gun will turn it into a truth bullet, and then they will load it into their truth gun. Will play. They can hold 6 bullets at once, and their influence meter will determine how strong the move is. The influence meter is a small heart next to the damage percent with a number next to it. It can range from 0 hearts to 10 hearts. You can get an influence heart by dealing 15% of damage, or taking 20% of damage. If your hearts are at 0, you will deal barely any damage and no knockback with your truth bullets. However, when they're at 10, you will deal a lot more damage with big knockback. Of course, with the more protagonists on the screen, the more Monokuma files will spawn. I'll talk about the truth bullets later, I just wanted to get the gimmick out of the way first. For the jab, the protag will just swing their 2 arms forward and hook punches. They aren't really known for their fighting ability, so I'm just gonna have to innovate for most of this. For the dash attack, it would just be a 2-handed push forward. Again, the characters aren't really known for fighting, so I'm just gonna have to innovate for most of this. I suppose you could use the snowboard, skateboard thing from the one minigame in Danganronpa 2, but For the side tilt, the protag quickly jabs their elbow out forward. There isn't really much inspiration for this one other than just more innovation, but there is that one sprite Makoto has where he sticks out his elbow, but that's all I really got. Now I can't animate to save the life of me, but if you couldn't tell, this is the down tilt. It's a sweeping kick that can sometimes trip opponents. Oh yeah, remember that time Chuck did a dope-ass uppercut on Terra? Yeah, that's gonna be the up tilt. No, Chuck is not a protagonist, but I mean, I have to get literally anything for this moveset. I'm keeping my promise of representing Ultra Despair Girls because before smash, the opponent charges up the hacking gun and then shoots a break projectile out forward. This does count as a projectile and it does slightly get farther the longer you charge it, and it can be absorbed, reflected, and pocketed. This isn't exactly how it functioned in Ultra Despair Girls, but you know, I just felt like this was good for Smash. Okay, for the up smash, the protagonist will use Hangman's Gambit. They'll summon two small blocks with random letters on them before they fly up and explode. Hell, they don't even have to be letters, they can just be like a Smash Bros symbol, something, a stock icon for all I care. And for the down smash, the protagonist will use a weapon used by Shuichi in V3, the Electro Hammer. They will swing the hammer on both sides of their body similar to Violet's down smash. This is basically the exact same as Violet's down smash, but it does have an electric effect to the hammer. Now for the neutral air, it could just be a quick spin with both legs. I'm gonna have to innovate more on this since we don't really have aerial attacks. For the forward air, Makoto will use the knockback projectile on the hacking gun. When he shoots it, will be a wide area in front of him that will deal huge knockback. It will also push him back slightly, so be careful when using offstage if you're trying to recover. For the back air, the protagonist will use the paralyzed projectile. He'll shoot out a small projectile backwards that will flinch someone in the air. But if you happen to hit it on someone standing still on the ground, depending on their damage, it will actually paralyze them for a few seconds, giving you an opportunity to attack. And for the up air, the protagonist will use the burn projectile. This is actually many projectiles like a flamethrower, so they'll shoot straight above their head and deal multi-hitting damage before they launch away with a final hit. And for the down air, once again going back to the Electro Hammer, they will swing it down with strong force which can spike opponents. It does have a lot of start and end lag however, so be careful. So for the jab, the protagonist will grab with both arms and pummel you using a headbutt. Once again, I'm gonna have to use a bit more innovation for the throw, so please bear with me. For the forward throw, the protagonist will simply hurl the opponent forward, and also, if anyone else is in the way when they throw them forward, then the other opponent will also get hurt. Now for the back throw, the protagonist will throw the opponent over their shoulder, bouncing them off their back and into the air. Not too much you can say with this move, but you could probably follow it up with a neutral air or a back air. For the up throw, a scrum debate podium will appear underneath the opponent before quickly throwing them up into the air. This is kind of an awkward move, but it was all I could think of. And for the down throw, the protagonist could just step on their face, kind of like what Junko did to Monokuma at the beginning of the first game. Now for the neutral special, it's only fair if we use the truth bullet from every Danganronpa game. The protagonist will take aim with the truth bullet and fire a projectile in the shape of a bullet forward, which will move about the speed of Samus's projectile. Going back to the gimmick of the truth bullets and the influence meter, depending on how high the influence meter is, it will determine the strength of the move. If it hits the opponent, there will be a shattering effect around it, which is just for aesthetics really. If you shoot a truth bullet and miss, you won't get it back, so you have to make every shot count, just like in the Danganronpa games. This move can be charged in 3 different ways, and you can't hold the charge, but it will still only use up 1 truth bullet no matter how long you hold it for. As I mentioned earlier, simply tapping it will shoot out a normal projectile forward, but if you hold it down, you will shoot out a Mass Panic debate bullet from the 3rd game. This bullet is significantly stronger than the normal truth bullet, and it will travel slightly slower, but it will have a larger hit radius. As I mentioned, there's a 3rd type of bullet, and that, well...
It's a lie!
Jesus Christ, why are you here? Not once did I plan you to be in this video, you're not even a protagonist.
Because I'm a liar.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. The 3rd type of bullet is the lie bullet, so can you go away now?
Okay.
Okay, well, yes, the 3rd type of bullet is the pre-jury bullet, which is the fastest out of all the bullets, and it will deal poison damage to whoever it hits. It will flinch them slightly, and sometimes not even flinch at all at lower percents, but it does inflict poison damage for 7 seconds. But using this does slightly hurt the protagonist, just like in the original game. This move is pretty risk and reward since it takes so long to charge up, but just like in the original game, it's a pretty risky option to use, so you better be careful when using it. Also, another thing to note is that even when your influence is high, it won't affect how long the poison is in effect, only for how much damage it deals. And for the side special, the protagonist will use the Truth Saber from the Rebuttal Showdown, first introduced in Goodbye Despair and then brought over to V3. This move functions similarly to Martha or Aurora's side specials, where they quickly slash forward. The protagonist will consume one truth bullet and slash 5 times forward, depending on how many times you press the button. Of course, the influence will still determine how much damage and knockback this move deals out, but all the moves will combo into each other regardless, so don't worry about the opponent falling out or anything like that. And for the up special, going back to the Scrum Debate, we have the Scrum Debate Rocket, which was used in V3. Upon activation, a rocket will appear in front of the protags, and when they grab onto it, it will shoot them up into the air. You can angle it slightly left and right, and if it hits the stage or a hard surface, it will explode, dealing damage to the protag and anybody else nearby. If you spam the special button, you can actually change how high it goes. If you don't spam it, it won't go that high, but if you do, it will go significantly higher. After the move is done, it will also put the protag into freefall. Now for the down special, I'm going to make it a unique mechanic from the first game. It's a mix of Villager's Pocket and Marth's Counter. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Back in Trigger Happy Havoc, there was a mechanic that allowed you to absorb weak points and turn them into truth bullets for you to use later in the argument. I'm going to be making the down special this very move, but slightly altered. Upon activation, the protag will strike a pose similar to a counter, and if they get hit by a projectile or a melee attack, they will absorb 2/3 of the damage into the temporary truth bullet that they can have. The other third will go to themselves. But with that temporary truth bullet, you get a one shot or a swing, depending on if you use the neutral special or side special, of the same attack power of the damage you took. This move would be absolutely hilarious to use against Warlock Punch, or Rest, or even Giga Flare. Just imagine something like that happening in an actual Smash game. And it's a powerful move, but it also stays true to the source material. All in all, the Danganronpa characters are extremely technical to use, and it'll probably take a while for you to master them if they get added to Smash Bros. This moveset really replicates how it is in the original Danganronpa games, using whatever you have to fight against your opponent, even if you have to lie, tell the truth, or just use whatever the hell you have.
I want you to reveal everything that happened and convince everyone. And then, I want you to end this. That's my final wish.
I understand. I'll end all of this. I'll reveal everything. The truth and the lies.
I'm sure you all saw this one coming. For the protagonist's final smash, they will use the closing argument, used in all 3 Danganronpa games. The protag will first summon out a box that will capture one opponent and one opponent only. It will then take them into a cinematic final smash based off of the closing argument throughout the Danganronpa games. I can imagine the style changes slightly between each protagonist, but I think the general story will be the same. It will have them something along the lines of getting in the way of hope or just something like that. At the end of the cinematic, it will reveal the opponent as the Blackened before they all get voted out, dealing huge damage to them and knocking them away. I also think, just as a nice touch, the voting symbol will actually display their stock icon, which I think would be pretty cool. As an added bonus, if your influence is higher than 7, the opponent will be instantly KO'd if they reach over 100%. For the entrance animation, the prototype will get out of a one-man elevator similar to the designs we see at the beginning of Trials. For the taunts, the first one will have the prototype pull out the troop revolver and spin it around just like it does at the beginning of non-stop debates. For the second taunt, they all strike the pose I like to call "No you goddamn idiot, that's wrong" pose. They will also say one voice line whenever they say this, it's dependent on the character.
Hope keeps on going!
I'll never let anyone choose again!
I won't go back!
I'll reveal the truth.
And for the last taunt, they could just pull something out of the Mono machine, like a little capsule or something. This would be similar to Dr. Mario's taunt, where he pulls out a pill of random colors, and the capsule will also be random colors. And for the alts, the first one could obviously be of Makoto Naegi, the protagonist of Trigger Happy Havoc and the ultimate lucky student. The second alt could be of Hajime Hinata, the protagonist of Super Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair, and just a reserve corps student. For the third alt, we could have Kaede Akamatsu, the ultimate pianist and the first protagonist of V3. And for the fourth alt, we could have Shuichi Saihara, the true protagonist of V3 and the ultimate detective. I specifically chose not to give him his hat here, and I'll explain that in a minute. For the fifth alt, it could show Makoto in his future Foundation outfit. This was used in the Danganronpa anime, but it was also used in Ultra Despair Girls. For the sixth alt, it could show a darkened Hajime with long hair and red eyes. This is a reference to Izuru Kamakura from the Danganronpa anime, and it's based off of his design from the same anime. For the seventh alt, you could have Kaede in her pre-game outfit, which was a blue school dress with a red bow. And for the final alt, we could have Shuichi in his pre-game outfit. Now I specifically had him keep his hat in this one, and I'll explain why. I'm sure as we all know, there's nothing more infuriating than confusing yourself with another person when you're playing 8-player Smash. So, I had one alt of Shuichi keeping his hat, and the other one of him not having it, because if you look by them side by side, they look pretty similar, and in the heat of the battle, you probably wouldn't tell the difference. However, this also stays true to the source material. In Danganronpa V3, Shuichi takes off his hat fairly quickly after you gain control of him, but there aren't any pre-game sprites of him without his hat, so this makes sense, while also having a way to differentiate them. And finally, for the victory animation, the first could have the protagonist stepping away from a podium and hold up an A-rank report card, the highest rank you can get on a class trial. And for the second one, the protagonist with their respective class can appear in a class trial before they all go onto their podiums and vote off the player in second place. And for the last one, it could show the protagonist off to the side while Monokuma pushes the button, ready to execute everybody who lost the match. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. I know I didn't include the music section, but that was purely based off the fact I wanted to get this video done because this took quite a lot longer to edit, probably because I was just demotivated, but anyway, this is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want me to make more movesets, I'll do them. Just comment down below. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, and I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.